Good morning, ladies. This is Paula, and I am back today with a really fun project. And so what I want you to do is get a piece of paper and pencil to take some notes for measurements if you're interested in doing this. Because, you know, I know a lot of you will ask me that, and I don't mind, but you can pause the video as we go along and write your notes down or write your measurements down. Now, these measurements are going to be good for a 6 1/4 by 4 1/2 inch used Christmas card. Okay? The card we're going to be using is this little stocking card. So I thought to myself, I have all these little Christmas cards and I need to use them in my books different ways. So, this is what I decided to do with this 6 1/4 by 4 1/2 inch card. Now, it was pretty old, and so I did reinforce it so that I could reinforce this little edge here with some washi, which I also glued down with a glue stick, just so you know. Okay, now I'm going to cover up the sentiment over here so there won't be any problems with that. So, I'm going to show you real quick what we're going to make. I hope you can see. This is my card, and this is an old card of a front door with a wreath. And I just decided, these are such a waste after Christmas. And I mean, they get crammed into drawers or whatever. And actually, this year, I'm going to go buy some leftovers off the shelves because you can never have enough. People don't send cards like they did once upon a time. People will send e-cards or so forth. So we got to get busy because this will take some time. I've pre-cut everything, and that's why I'm going to give you measurements, because this did take me quite a while. I made it up, and this is what the inside looks like. And you're probably thinking, oh, I can't make any sense out of that. Well, you will. The first thing I'm going to show you is on the right-hand side. What started the whole thing was I wanted to put a bag in my Christmas card. You know how I love to use bags. I wanted to put a bag in my Christmas card over here. And then I thought, well, I can fold that up and make a pocket on the other side. And so that's what I started working on first. That was my first thought. And then I thought, well, then I've got all this bare space in the front. I'm going to put another pocket, the opposite color, right here. And so that's what I did. And then I just decorated the front, made a tag, slid it into this little sack. I'm going to show you there what the sack looks like. I just used some thin paper so that they could flip it around and journal. And in the bag, I used just some paper that they could journal on, rounded the corners, kind of like the bag has rounded corners. And then, let me get it back in here. I'm showing you all this so that you know what we're kind of going to do. Now, if you flip it over to the back, here's the pocket portion, which I meant to decorate right here. So we will on the other one. But I just pulled this out and made it like a little book. And decorated the top here. You could decorate it any way you want. I'm not going to give measurements for decorating because you can do that. And you can open it. You could even start adding things to the inside of this. But I decided to keep it simple. There you can see the back of the card. It has a cute little bird. And then I just slipped it back into the pocket. Now, on the left side, this was a little different. I was like, what am I going to do over here? I always like to put in journaling paper hidden somewhere. So the first thing you'll need is like a 7 by 8 inch circle punch to punch out a little circle, okay? And then this is what holds your flap down. Now this is just cardstock folded in half to fit the width of our little pocket thing here. So I raise that up, open this out, and see who can tell me what this is. This is 2 cards put together. And I'm going to show you what I mean, because you know how I like to play with cards. 2 cards, 2 little cards that are 5.5 by 4 inches each. Just 2 cards. We've done several projects just using 2 cards. One crosses under the other, and then you've got where they meet there. And if you just folded them in, you'd have 2 cards intertwined. See? Okay, so in that process, I thought, yeah, but that'll be plain. So I cut out just a piece of cardstock, and I cut the cardstock at, let me think, let me look at my little notes here. I cut the cardstock at like, let me look, 3 3/4, just barely over 3 3/4, just a hair over by 7 inches. Okay, and then I just scored it where I however long I wanted my flap to hang down. Okay, now so I still have the cards together in the middle, which, you know, leaves you this space in the middle right here, right? I just took it where I folded it and stuck it down in between those 2 cards, lined it up, and there you go. You fold that in, that down, and you have a flap. You're probably thinking in your head, how confusing. It's really not confusing. If you write down the measurements, use the same card, Christmas card that I'm using, these measurements will work. And you can just pause the video and do it as you go along. Now, when I end up gluing this back portion down, I only glue here, here, and here, and put it on the base of my card. I center it on the base of my Christmas card, and then it leaves me room for a tag. And the tags, it's a large tag. It's like 6 1/4 by 3 inches that we can put behind it. And that ends up being, let me show you which tag that is. It ends up being this tag right here. So everything I just told you is this portion right here that I said you needed a circle for, right here. So you flip it open. This is that 7 inch long, just barely over 3 3/4 wide piece of cardstock. This is card number 1, card number 2. They're overlapped. You put the cardstock between the 2. You glue around the right and the left in the lower section to attach it to your base of your card. And you just center it. Okay. Now, the next thing I did was I took paper. I took, like, in this situation, I just took like 6 scraps. And I cut the tea stain paper, I want to say around 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. Okay, and then I cut this little strip right here, which is 1 inch wide, and I cut it 1 inch by 3 1/2 inches, which is how wide your paper is. I folded it in half, set it over the top, used my tiny attacher, and then they were all together, and then I glued just this top portion down. So you have all this for your paper. Okay? Now, if you wanted to go crazy, you could put something up here. I don't know what it would be. Maybe even just decorate it. And I might. You never know. Okay, so then I had these 2 flaps out here just flapping around. And I thought, you know, we do side tucks in journals all the time. So I just cut out 2 little squares by 2 by like 1 1/2 inches, and then I rounded the inside edge here on both of them, And I just took a template, envelope template that I've had for a while, and I just drew around it, cut it out, inked everything, and then I cut a little card to fit the very inside. Okay, let me get this out. The inside of this little card is, let me think how much. It's a small envelope, and you're going to need two, one for each side. If that's what you want to put, you could put tags there. You could put anything there. You could put journaling cards there. You just make that choice. The little cards inside my envelopes are 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. And you can decorate them. I didn't do much decorating, okay? Not much at all. And then I made 2 of those, slid them into my little pockets, and voila. We've got a little pocket that goes in. Now we could decorate this too, and I might. But right now we're just going to go with basics. And then down, down, lift up your little circle, slide it under, and there you have it. And you fold it over, and there you have it. Flip it over, and your finished project. I'm going to show you how to put this together. We can't piddle, so let's get started. Okay, now this, like I said, is an old card. The first thing we're going to do is cover up this sentiment so I don't have to sit here and hold my hand over this person's name for 3 days. Okay, so the first thing we do is get our Fabri-Tac, which is the glue I'm going to use. Now, because this card, the measurements I gave you were for this card. Okay, that was a bigger card. But because this card is, oh man, I should have probably covered under this washi a little better, but that's all right. Okay, I put washi just to secure this card. You do not have to do that. But my card was kind of weak. Because this sack was a little wider than my card, I folded it under a little bit, see? Gave it like a little lip, which will just give it more dimension. So I fold that over, so that's where I'm going to run the glue, is right down the sides, and try to stay on the little flap, and just to that point right there. And then do it on the other side as well. These little bags you get at Hobby Lobby, they're by Paper Studio. I use them for everything. I know people use different kinds of bags, but these are my favorite. And I tell you why, because they're not super wide, and they're versatile because you can, you know, use them on a lot of different things. Okay, so now we're just going to line it up center all the way up to the top. You know, as much as I can, I'm going to try to cover up my washi tape, which I did not plan on putting on my project, but my card started coming apart when I was inking it. I was like, oh my goodness, it is old after all. Okay, so you want to just make sure, because I've already folded this bottom part, so I got to make sure I have it down low enough here that then you want to push down any ink sections, you know, anything that's got ink on it. And I'll tell you, using your score tool is important too, because you're going to have a lot of bulk if you don't. So just score everything down real good. Make sure it adheres. And you know, I just realized that I didn't glue behind my bag, so now I have a second pocket. You really can glue behind your bag, and I'm going to close this up because I'm going to add some washi tape back there eventually to cover up my little bit of a boo-boo. See right there? Can't do a video without a boo-boo. Okay, so now we've got this on here. Let's flip it over and go ahead and attach our pocket in the back. Okay? And we're going to do it the same way, only this time we don't want to put glue over the whole thing because we want it to be a pocket. So we're just going to run it down the edges and fold it up nice and square and hold for a second. Make sure all your edges are down, holding down, because this is going to be our pocket. Hope you guys are having a good day. I'm trying to have a busy day. It's the day before Thanksgiving, so I'm sure everyone's running to the store, and fortunately, this is a little crooked right here, so I must have not lined it up perfect. But you know what? Little imperfections like that don't bug me too much. It's either that, or let's blame it on the Christmas card. Maybe it's the Christmas card that's crooked. I doubt it. This card is so old, I've had it forever, but I just thought it was so cute. Okay, now, this is going to be where we end up housing our little book thing. And I just, again, we'll do this first. I cut this at 5.5 by 6 inches and folded it in half and rounded all 4 corners. Just kind of made it like a flap. And only rounded the corners because I had rounded the corners on the flap and on the card that was in the back of the book. So, just, yeah, that's all I did. Now, I'm just going to add a little bit of decoration. I got that new Creative Memories corner punch when I was where was I? At my retreat. And it will cut corners, and it will cut out tag corners. Now I'm moving this up a little bit so that when it's in the pocket you can see. This has little trees on it. This is some old paper by Illustrated Faith, which I love their paper. Okay, look how cute that looks. Now you could leave it like that, but because I'm going to put this in the little tree book that I'm working on, which is almost finished, and I'll be doing a flip through on it in my next video. But I wanted to get this done first. So, of course, I've got glue leaking, so you got to give me a little minute here to clean it up. I've got to where I just wipe it on my hands and move along. So I'm rolling the glue off while it's still a little wet. And okay. There you go. That's better. And so I just cut out a little square of trees to go right in the center, just to give it a little bit of decoration. Now, mind you, you could do anything on here. I did not give you measurements for these two, just kind of eyeball it, and if you decide you want these on there, everyone knows how to cut these little squares. And what I liked about this Creative Memory punch was it punches circles, it rounds the edges, I mean, and then it punches the inside circle. And I don't know if I showed you guys that or not, but I thought I did. So this is the new one right here. Let me get it. So see, you slide it in this way to get your rounded corner. And then if you don't want a rounded corner, you come around here, line it up, and do it. It gives you a ticket corner. I love that idea. Whoever's new at Creative Memories came up with something I really liked. Okay, so this is ready, and this, once the pocket has dried, will go right inside here. Okay? All right, so I'm going to set it aside for now, though, and we're going to flip this back over, and we're going to work on this side. Now, this side might seem a little more confusing, but honestly, guys, it's not. So we're going to take this apart. These are 2 card bases. And the 2 card bases are 5.5 by 4 inches. Okay. 2 just Hobby Lobby Paper Studio card bases. And one, the right one in your right hand goes under the one in your left hand. It's just super simple. And you're just going to line them up where they meet inside. Do like this. Like you were packaging them all together. You want all the sides straight. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way. Pull over my 7-inch. And really, it doesn't have to be 7 inches, but I cut this 7 inches by just barely over 3 3/4. And I just basically cut it to fit just down inside there. So you might want to measure your cards to be sure. It's simple. Don't let this scare you. Okay, so then I'm going to flip the left side open, holding on to this other side. And then I'm going to open it, holding on to the 2 bottom pieces that are together. Okay, now you can see right here how this flips open because I haven't glued it down yet. We're going to take our piece of paper that we have cut, and I scored how long I wanted my flap to be right here. And this is the portion we're going to glue down inside in the middle of the cards. So we've got our cards open, we've got this open flap, you're holding with this thumb, and we're going to slide over into there, push it down to your fold, and then you can lay it down here and hold it still. Center up your top portion. Make sure it's center. Everything looks good. Now, open it up, fold this in, and while it's in there, before you glue it, you're tapping it down on the table, pushing in on both sides, making sure it's exactly where you want it from here to here, from here to here. And it looks pretty good to me. Okay, so now I'm going to lay it down very flat, open up the top, because we're not going to glue on that. Open the left side, holding the other stuff down. Open the right side, holding the stuff down. And now we're down to where this is just under here. See right there? Okay. So, while I'm holding it still, I'm going to glue this down. Now you're thinking to yourself, why is she gluing that? Well, because I know it's in place right there, and this will hold it for me. I will go back and glue behind it later. I just want to make sure that it stays in place. Okay? So now we know that it's not going to come off of our cards. And then I'm going to flip it to the side, holding the side I just glued so it doesn't move. Okay? And then glue underneath it. Yeah, this just keeps it down for you. It's just easy. Now, please play with this before you get frustrated, because it is really not hard. You're going to find that you learn something new from this. I've never done this before. I just kind of came up with it. I don't know if someone else has come up with it before. I've never seen it anywhere. I know there's so many different combinations of different things people have done. So I don't ever try to steal anybody's ideas. Okay, so now we know that we can fold this in, fold this in, fold this in, and it's straight. Okay, but now I don't have it completely glued in. I have it glued in between the 2 cards. Okay, it's glued in between the 2 cards, and it's not glued behind, so I'm going to go in now and just put some glue down behind it. And the reason I did it like this was so that you could keep it in place. I don't think it's how I glued it. If you can come up with a better way to glue it to work for you while you're holding everything, I was just trying to come up with something that would be easy for those that are pretty new at gluing stuff. Okay. And this will hold it down, because I know it's watching a video can be confusing. That's why I wrote down all the instructions, or all the, I don't guess you call it instructions, all the measurements and so forth. So now we've got this. It's perfect. See? Everything's glued together. Everything's working and functioning like it should. Just keep making sure everything is sticking and there's no glue oozing out anywhere. And it looks like we're good as far as that goes. Okay, so now the next thing is to bring your card back into the picture. Here it is. And of course I had to put this ugly washi tape on here, which I really don't like. But if your card was in better condition, I wouldn't have had to do that. But luckily I had some with trees, since these are trees. We're just going to center this. We're going to center this whole little card section, the whole little thing we put together. We're going to have it closed. I'm going to flip it over. And we're going to do what we've all done a million times. We're going to glue down the left side in the back, across the bottom, up the right side, and make a pocket. Just like that. Okay? Now, you're going to center that. I'm trying to find my little wipey I had out here. I guess I don't have any more. That's all right. So now you center it. And you know, you can really put it anywhere you want. If you want to put it down low, you can put it down low. If you want to put it up high, you can put it up high. Now, ultimately, these things always, when you do the glue around the outside edge, I always get glue seepage, because I try to glue as close to the edge as I can. And it seems like it always wants to ooze out. So just get it off the best you can while it's wet, and continue to push down on it so that we know it adheres really well. Okay, then open everything up, because see, this is trying to stick on me right down here. And you always, when you glue stuff like this, it has multiple layers, you always want to take it apart and make sure it's, or not take it apart, but open it up and make sure everything is doing what it's supposed, doing what it was planned to be, and how it's planned to work. So it didn't glue together. There we go. I have a feeling this washi tape is not going to stay on there. I glued it down really well, but I mean, some washi tape, I don't know if you guys notice this, washi tape's getting cheaper and cheaper to be made. Not only does it not really stick in your books, so I have to use glue stick. I don't ever put glue washi in your book that you don't glue it with some glue stick or something, because it will not stay. Just a nice little bit of information there that everybody probably loves. Sometimes I will just make a book or something, and I'll just randomly start sticking washi tape because I love it, and I don't use it as much as I need to. So sometimes it's, I know this is taking a little longer to get this off, but I just don't want it to stick inside the person's book. All right, so there we go. We've got that on, and that on. Now, get your little circle, and I don't know where mine is. Of course, mine's blending in with this mat, probably. Oh, there it is. I just had some little snowflake paper that was black. I just thought, well, I'll use that. So close everything up exactly how you want it. And left side in, right side over, and down. Now, when you put the glue on this, you only want to glue like the bottom third, because it's going to spread up whenever you glue it down. Now, look at where your glue is. Make sure you're not putting it on the top of your, bring it down as low as you can from your little circle and hold. Can you guys see what I'm doing? There, and hold. And you'll get some seepage probably. Let it dry a second before you start rubbing on it, because it won't take long for this to. And then unhook this, because you don't want to get it glued down. I took just something that would lift it up a little bit, like this little ruler. You can use whatever you've got and just lift that one side so it doesn't glue down. And at the same time, I'm holding this. Okay, this is how I dried mine. You could do it with the, piece of cardboard or whatever, along this little section right here. Just make sure it's down really good. Okay, so moving along. Oh, before I forget, behind, of course, right now it's still wet, so we can't leave it there. But behind this right here is going to be your pocket, down in here. Okay. Oh, what's the deal? Ooh, it's the deal. I know I didn't put glue up there. Or did I? No, I didn't. It's just, it's still, yeah, it's workable. Okay, so I'll show you on this one so it makes more sense. I just don't want to pull it off. It goes right in here. See? So, we'll work on the tag once it's completely dried. And, it may not completely dry during the video, but you guys understand what I'm talking about. My subbies are smart. Okay, so there we go. And we know that back here is open because we glued 3 different sides. I'm making sure I didn't glue it upside down. Yeah, it is. It's open. I just don't want to yank on it. Okay, so for the inside of this bag, oh, wait a minute. Before we do that, let's decorate the front of this bag. How's that? So I got one of my favorite things, a craft bag. And this craft bag is, the size of it is a 3x4. And I told you the big white bag is a 4.5 by 9 1/4. And these are by Paper Studios. You can get them at Hobby Lobby. And so we're just going to glue this. We're going to ink everything. I inked everything except my tea stain paper. Okay, we're going to center this right here. Okay, and after we center it, then we're going to glue our decorated portion that I punched the opposite way on the ends right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue our bag down. If you have any little edges that are sticking up on your bag, where it was put together cheaply, I tell you, it's aggravating how they sell the bags and then they just put them together, throw them together. So I always glue those little loose edges because I don't like things that snag on other things. And so just make sure you're putting plenty of glue on here to hold it down, because it's also gonna house a tag. So see. Now, center it on your bag as if it's one page. Just like, what I kind of did was line it up with this one next to it. So, you know, it looked a little more cohesive with the bottom of this. I don't know if it's perfect or not, but we'll see. We'll get that down really good. Make sure it's center. It is. Make sure your little thing is still drying okay over here. All right. Now let's glue this is where you would make a front. And this is just a journaling card that I turned into. I liked that it said, I have to read it. I can't even remember that short amount of time. Let's see. Come let us adore him. I really I found this in my scrap drawer and I was like, oh, that's perfect for what I want. So, I'm going to put it right here. And if I hadn't used a journaling card, I would have just used, you know, some paper that coordinates. On this one, I'm coordinating the green trees. And then I'm just kind of coordinating with the blacks. There's black polka dots behind the trees. So I just kind of wanted them to, I just wanted the paper to not be real busy and all different kinds, you know. And so that's good. Come on. Glue, glue, glue. Okay. All right, so there we go. That portion is done. Now, I did tell you that I did a tag to go down inside this bag. And I'm going to show you how I did that. We won't make one, but you guys know how to make a tag. So I folded a piece of paper. I didn't want these to be I didn't want them to be regular tags. I wanted them to be journaling tags. So I folded it in half and drew a tag on it and didn't cut the fold. So it just opens out like a little book. Okay? So, and it's, you know, Hobby Lobby's Paper Studio, little cheap paper, thin paper. And I did that because I wanted it to slide down in here easily. You know, and you can just journal on it, and then it be nice and ready. Okay, so here we have our inside, and also here in this bag, inside the bag, I did the same thing. I just measured the width of the bag, which we have already determined is 4 3/4 by 9 1/4. So I just did from the bottom here up and just let it hang up a little bit at the top. And I rounded the top edges, left the bottoms flat, did it like a little book, left it folded. There's not going to be anything fancy about it. And then it slides down in the bag and peeks out just enough. You know, I let the red be my third color. Pretty much. We've got our back over here done. We've got this side done. We've got this finished, but now we got to finish the inside. So we're going to open this back out. Now, we could have went crazy and folded some down and folded out here and folded over there, and before you know it, it's across the room. It's so big. You can add and add and add and add to this stuff. But I didn't want to do that because I wanted it to be able to do this. Here's my prototype. Let me get my tag back down in there. This tag fits. It's just that if you go one way to the left too much or one way to the right too much. Okay, I wanted it to be as flat as possible. If you look you can see how flat it is. See? Now, if I let go of this, you're going to have a few things that kind of come out. But when you close it, look how flat. It's really pretty flat, right? Here's the bottom. Because it's all about, well, it's not all about it, but it's a big part of it is get as much journaling into your book as you can. And when you open it out, it's flat. And that's what my goal was. So let's do the paper in the middle first. So in this instance, I only have like 6 pieces of paper. Again, I cut the paper at, let me look at my notes here. 4 3/4 by 3 1/2, and I stacked them all together, and they're just scraps. And then I took a 1-inch strip and folded it in half long ways and cut it the length or the width of the paper, and I laid it over the top, just like you were going to sandwich it inside. See, just like that. And then I took my stapler, which I love. My tiny attacher, I can't find my staple, so I'm going to have to use a regular size staple, which I don't like to do. And then you just staple. There's no reason you can't use it. It's just that I like my little Tim Holt ones. Okay, now once you have this all stapled together and so forth, you're going to take and add glue across just this cardstock portion. And we'll do that now. Come on, glue. And you want it to really hold this down because it will be moved around. But you don't want it like oozing everywhere, which mine will. It always does. Center it on your paper, on the inside of your little book you made. Hold the ends down first, make sure they're straight, and then you can start applying some pressure. There we go. This is going to go into, this particular one is going to go inside of my little book that I'm working on right now. The biggest, most beautiful Christmas tree. Such a cute story, cute illustrations, and anyway, I had to make sure I was able to get it made because I love how it all ends and stuff. But anyway, this is going to go in that book, and I haven't decided now if I'm gonna just put it in a pocket or if I'm going to. Of course, I am getting glue seepage right now, guys. Sorry. I've got to go today and get these nails taken off. I do not like these nails that this lady put on me. Okay, do you ever get nails that you just don't like? She put them on so thick that it looks like my nails deformed. I just want to stick with my manicure. My hands get too messy to have nails. Okay, now we're going to take our little, I don't know what I did with it, of course. Oh, there they are. Our little corners that we cut, and we cut 2 of these to fit. They're like little side tucks, and I made them, let me think, 2 inches by 1 3/4 inches. And then I always punch the inside corner so that it faces the inside of the book, just like that. Now we're going to glue these down so they can be drying. You're going to glue on the right side and the bottom side on this particular one. What did I do with my... Let me get a wipey. My glue is going crazy. Silly thing. someone had asked me from one of my previous videos, how do I get my templates? What do I do with my templates? I might come up with an idea, or I might have seen an idea somewhere, and I will just sit down and draw it out and make it myself. Now, don't let that scare you, because it's really easy to do. Okay, so put this in the corner right here and let it dry. This is in the corner of this flap, because this is where we're going to house our little musical sheet envelopes. And we're going to make those after this. I'm going to do the same thing on the left side, only on the left side we're going to glue down the left side and the bottom side. I try to do this as thin as possible, because you know once you put it on the paper it's going to flatten out more. You could put hinges, but you know that's just a lot of work. Just to tuck a little something under it, it's a lot of work. So let me make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm just kind of gluing it down and holding it in place. I like to make sure these edges really adhere well. I love everything about this. The thing I don't love is that I had to put washi tape on here, just so you know. But that was just to secure the card, because this card was so old. And I wanted it for this book, because it seems like to me they mention stockings in the story. Okay, so we're going to leave this open so it can dry. And when it's done drying, we'll add our... I want to go back over here and check out this ticket area and see if our ticket's going to fit down in there. It's acting like it's glued, which I don't understand. I know I didn't glue the top. So we may not get a pocket out of this. Something must have stuck. Let's just stick this. Nope, see, you can tell I didn't glue it. It's just something is sticking back there. So I might have to put a thinner tag in. You have to kind of watch, because this does happen. You know, whenever you make pockets and you're using a lot of glue. See, like this tag's going to be too big, but I'll just thin this tag down in a little bit and it will work fine. But you just want to loosen it up when that happens. And it happens a lot. Okay. Alrighty. There we go. Okay, now let this dry, set it aside and let it dry. We're going to move on to the envelopes. And I just cut out a template of an envelope that I had. I just took an envelope, opened it up, and made a template out of it. That's how simple it is. And then I cut around it with, you know, I use my straight edge on my cutter to cut these out. But these measure, let's see, 6, just barely over 6, 6 1/4 this way. Wait a minute. 6 1/4 this way. And let me see what they measure on the other side. 6 1/2. So 6 1/4 by 6 1/2. And then you just find you a little envelope that you have, take it apart, put it on a piece of cardboard or cardstock or something heavier, draw around it, and you have a template. Okay, so, and you can do it with the little insides that go inside too. So this is how I do my cards. I decide which side I want to be the outside. I think I want that to be. And then I take my little journaling card that goes on the inside and I lay it down right here and make sure everything's lining up from corner to corner. You know, because it should. Now, if it's just slightly off, I don't think it's going to make that huge of a difference. Just, you know, that way you just want this corner here, this corner here, this corner here, and here. And so what I do is then I hold it down really good with my left hand, take my right hand and go under it and bring it up and score it onto itself like that, onto the journaling card. And then I hold that down. Now, is this a perfect science? No. Then you hold this side down, okay? And then go over here with one finger and keep this side, this journaling card held down. We're going to do the same thing again. I'm going to bring it up underneath, push, kind of push up against that little card, bring it down, hold on tight, crease it, okay? And then we're going to do the same thing with for the two ends. Going to bring it up. Sorry, my computer keeps making noises. And the same thing over here. Bring it up. There we go. Now, you've got yourself a little card. Now I'm going to take the inside out. And we're going to glue it. Do not go crazy with your glue because you won't like it if you do. Just going to use this little flat side as the front of the envelope. Now, I just put under the flap side, I just put a little skippet of glue. Doesn't take that much. If you notice, when you buy envelopes, there's never enough of anything on envelopes. You almost have to re-glue them. Okay, so you're going to hold that down for just a minute while Fabri-Tac does its magic. Okay, now after you know it's holding, look inside and make sure you don't have any glue inside. Feel around, and I don't. So we'll let this dry before we put the journaling card in it. And of course the glue is leaking a little bit. Okay, going to come over and do the same thing again. I'm just going to show you. You line this up. Your little journaling card, you line it up. Okay. Flip the bottom up until it folds over. Crease. Same thing on this side. There we go. Same thing on this side. Now same thing on this side. After I get everything creased up really good, I go back and I ink the areas that were missed. Okay, let's get this one glued down over here. Let me make sure everything looks like it's supposed to. It does. Just a little bit of glue. Just a little skippet of glue. Hold these down, flip this forward. Now, I'll just tell you, I did not worry about whether or not my text was up or down. As it turns out, it's up on this one. Let's see what it is on this one. There's not any text to be up on that one. So you just have to kind of make sure there's no glue down in there. There's not. And so we'll let that dry just for a minute while we trim down this tag. Now, this tag is a tag I made. Can you guys see? It's a tag I made. I'm just going to trim a little bit off of each side I made it out of like poster board. I'm trimming down about 1/4 of an inch off of each side, which means it's going to be a thin, tall tag. Yeah. And that's okay, because instead of having these corners that are the shape they are, I'm going to round them, since everything else has a rounded corner. And I like that better, I think. What did I do with my little wipey? There it is. I'm going to close up our glue for a second while we work on this tag. Okay, now let me move my cutting board. Okay, of course I have already used, oh, there it is right there. Thought I didn't have another blue. I just threw one of these blue ones away because they were everywhere. I've been using Distressed Oxide Faded Jeans on this project because that's what I used in the book it's going to go into. I always try to do some kind of special project for most of my books. Every once in a while I just do normal projects, but pretty much I do. And this is that project for this book. Now I will add like some Christmas decorations to it or something. I'll have to look and see how much time we have. Whoops, there goes my tag rolling down the hill. Okay, now let's try this tag and see if it fits better. Much better. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna put our little journaling cards inside our envelopes. Now, I have not tried these since I glued them, so sometimes your little journaling cards are so close to being perfect fit that you might have to trim them down a little bit. Let's see if they fit in this other one. Yeah, they're going to have to be kind of slivered off a little bit. Both of them are a little tiny bit too big. But that's not a big deal. Let's get out the trimmer, and you're just going to take off just enough that you can get them into your envelope. And, you know, this is par for the course. Trust me, paper crafting is not a perfect science with me. I just kind of go with it. Whatever works, you know. And then just re-ink what you cut into. Now, get it back over here. Now we're going to slide it in. Oh, I forgot. Once you get your envelope made, you need to ink around the edges. Just like that. Any place that doesn't have ink on the edges. Because you don't want it to just like blend in. Okay, so now I turn the open end, I turn it to the inside and slide it in. Now don't cram it down into where your glue is until we know it's really glued. Okay, we're going to do the same thing again. Slide it into this envelope, and it's just like a perfect little fit. Whoops, wrong ink. Too many inks to choose from. Listen, I would rather stick with just the brown ink, but at Christmas, some of the books, I just was like, that cannot. I'm not using that brown ink on that pretty pink, or whatever it ended up being, and so. There we go. All right, so here we go. We're going to put it right here on this side. Here is our finished project. I'm going to fold it in. Whoops, wrong side. Fold it in, fold it in, fold it down, hook it to the little circle, and here we have it. Oops, we haven't put our back in. Let's put it in. How cute. Now, I wanted to put something right here. Let me get some paper. I'm almost done, guys. I'm sorry if it's taking forever. We're right at an hour, so we've got to do this really fast. Let's put some, I don't know that I have any, let's just put some music sheet. How's that? Can't ever go wrong putting music sheet on there. Okay. Let me measure it real fast. I just feel like it's kind of blah. You know what I mean? Okay, so see. Help to have the right end of the... So it's going to be 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. If I can get that much out of it here. We'll see what happens. I may have cut it too small because I'm trying to hurry now. No, that's perfect. All right. So you would ink it, and I'm not going to do any kind of edging or anything like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know I've been busy doing Christmas books. I just want to make sure everybody has a wonderful Christmas and gets a document daily or December daily, whatever you want to call it. I personally have never done one because it's just my husband and and I don't know, I just feel like, you know, when it's just us, there's not that much going on till Christmas Day. So I usually do like an album, and I make notes in my album. So I'm not saying I would never make one, but I don't. I have never. Okay, so I'm going to glue this on real fast. You guys know how to add ribbon to your projects or to the top of your tags. That's what I would suggest that you do. Next is add some ribbon. And I decided to put the music sheet on the back of here just so that it kind of goes with what's on the inside. Just a little bit. I just try to stick with a couple colors mostly. So there you go. I want to make sure you guys can see. This is the back. Got our cute little book. This is the front. And this will have a red ribbon. Red with white polka dots, I think, is what I've got. Now, we're going to open it up. I'm going to lay it down so you can see better. Okay. And we've got our craft tag with our little open book tag, which is, I think, Patricia makes those type of tags. That's where I saw that. And then this is not really a tag, but a journaling sheet. And I rounded the top corners, decorated the front. You don't have to use a journaling card, but that's what I liked. Got our tag that goes behind our whole contraption, which just makes this so much fun. Got to flip it open. Glued half of our circle. 2 card bases, fold out, journaling paper, 2 envelopes, 2 tucks, and I'm going to show you how flat it is. Well, first of all, there you go there. Look at that. Then you go up from the top. Now when you close it together, that is crazy how flat it turns out. Look at that. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. We're past an hour. I'm sorry for those that don't like that. But it was just a special project, and I wanted to give it the attention it deserved for your guys' sake. I hope you got all the measurements just fine. I gave them all. And I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed today's video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And everybody, I'll be back for a flip through. I was going to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, but I'll be back for a flip through. But if you don't watch the flip through, happy Thanksgiving. Bye, guys.